this is fun. All right, can you hear me? Yes? Is it too loud? No, thank you. Is yours on?
Kia ora.
Yeah, cool. Manny, you need to hit unmute on here. Oh, okay, we're already live, that's fine. So we're gonna try start this kind of on time. Woo. Kia ora. So we're just gonna have a general chit chat. I'm gonna introduce Christian, who's a lovely friend of mine who I brought on because they were moving away to Australia, and I'm like, I want to get you here to chat about this, please, before you go. But we're going to be chatting about HEMA today, and probably go off the rails a little bit because I have ADHD, and I will create different pathways. But I met Christian through HEMA, which HEMA stands for Historical European Martial Arts. It's essentially very cool sword fighting. Did you want to add any other context to HEMA?
It's very cool sword fighting, and it's also very queer, so it's queer sword fighting.
Which is the best.
Yeah.
So how this is kind of going to run, we'll just have a general chit chat. I have some questions, but also there is a Slido. So if you have questions, feel free to jump on there, add them into the thing, and then towards the second half we'll have general questions from the peeps here, and then also probably me as well as we go along. So do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah,
Say
sure.
who you are, pronouns, all that jazz.
Yeah, kia ora, ko Christian toku ingoa, no Ngāpuhi hau. I grew up in South Auckland. I use he, him pronouns, and I've been doing HEMA for nearly 3 years.
Nice. So I guess we'll start off. So we had a fight camp down in Wellington. I like to say it was my first Pride event because there was a lot of lovely queer whānau there. And one of the questions I asked a lot of people was, what first got you into HEMA? And I thought I'd throw that to you first as well.
Yeah, my flatmate actually got me into HEMA. We saw a post on Facebook that was a miraculous event because we were on Facebook, and also because it was of people using foam swords in a park at Western Springs, just kind of having clearly a drilled practice time, and it caught our attention. Thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, you're like, they're using foam swords, it must not be that scary.
Yeah, it can't hurt that much. And that was kind of that, really. I actually missed the initial waiting list for that one, so I didn't get to use the cool foam long swords I saw. But I did end up going to Auckland Sword and Shield and doing a side sword beginner's course there.
So I guess for context, I do HEMA out of Auckland Sword and Shield. I'm also part of the committee / president. And then Christian also comes to our club, but you also are a part of Auckland Longsword as well, eh?
Yeah, I am primarily at Auckland Longsword. I determined that I enjoy having two hands on a sword more than just one, and Auckland Longsword, hence the name, does longsword.
Yeah, just exclusively longsword.
Yeah, that's all we do.
Yeah. Is that because you wanted something else to do with your hand?
Oh, honestly, probably. Hearing it out loud, yeah.
Yeah. Just tuck mine behind the back.
I think it just flows nicely. There's something about having more leverage on the sword.
Do you want to talk about a bit what a longsword is and maybe context of a longsword in case people have no idea?
Yeah, a longsword is a medieval weapon that uses two hands on a grip. There is a cross guard, which is a metal bar that goes across the blade, before the blade, which then goes for about a meter, generally, probably a little shorter than that in artifacts and stuff that we've found. In HEMA, in longsword fencing, we actually don't use long swords per se. We use a thing called a feather, which are blunt long swords that were historically used for training and practice for knights and people in that wanted to do sport fencing.
Yeah. Yeah, because essentially we fight each other with metal swords, but they're blunted, so we rock out of them safely, and then we have all of the protective gear as well, so we can do it week to week, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to be as safe as possible.
Yeah. One of those interesting things with it too is that in the 15th century, we actually found records of people doing sport fencing with feathers. Oh. So the game that we're actually playing in 2026 is not too dissimilar from what we would find they were doing at the time, cool. With the blunted feathers.
And I guess you also have been part of HEMA for 3 years, but you also got involved with the Auckland Longsword Club a lot more too. Do you want to talk about how that all started and how you found it, I guess?
Yeah. So I'm kind of, I was just reflecting on it. I joined Auckland Longsword 2023, and at the time, the head coach there, Mike Smorridge, he would run plastron lessons, and that's essentially a one-on-one coaching time. And through that, I got to know more about him and more about what he does at the club and what he's had experience doing. Running the club meant that, or rather being involved with the club meant that you could influence the type of people that would come to do this thing, the sport. It also meant you could choose a direction to take the club in terms of how you go about training and what that environment looks like. I got involved primarily because Mike brought to me and my flatmate that he was leaving, and someone needs to step up to do that. And I really wanted it to keep going in a really positive way. And so I thought, I'm going to step up to give it a try, see if I can get more queer folk in the club, get it changed up a bit, keep doing cool stuff, maintain our presence in the HEMA space in New Zealand, and keep pushing us forward. Yeah,
and that's partly why I also got into more of a helping run the club. Was I wanted to push it in more of a safe, accessible direction, so then kind of everyone can join and there's not, just one type of person, I guess, but actually that were accessible to all people. So I always want to, whether we're doing events or into spaces, making it really safe so then people can just bring themselves and not be afraid of, you can still hit each other with swords and have fun.
Yeah, totally.
Do you want to talk about, I guess, what do we want to talk about? So how, I guess you kind of talked about trying to build more of a community within that space. Can you talk a bit about how you've done that, you're right? Are you creaking?
I threw my finger stimming toy.
Sorry.
My fidget toy.
Yeah, fidget toy went awry. You're just fiddling it.
Yeah, I was just playing with it.
Nice. Do you want to talk about kind of how you've done that, or what you've made very conscious, I guess, in trying to do that? Yeah.
When we invite, or rather open up our doors for beginners courses and such, I made the choice to be very explicit with how welcoming we are of the queer community. And one of those, one of the like, I guess the side effects of that is that we get a lot less nasty people, people that might have bigoted views and such. And turns out that makes a big difference to how the people that come to these clubs are. It's sort of its own filtering system. And I remember we had like a Facebook advertising thing, and there was like, one positive comment and then 5 very upset people beneath it. And I was kind of thinking, wow, it's working. Because these people aren't going to come.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, and it seems silly, but also, if you imagine the type of people that this kind of sport might be interesting to, it's very easy to lean into traditional values, and like there's, like medieval stuff is knights. Associations here being what they are, we don't really want to go into that, but building a space that's welcoming to the right people.
Yeah.
With a filtering system like that, very, very useful, very good.
Yeah, especially when you're doing beginners course, like how our club does it. I don't actually know if Auckland Longsword does it this way, but our beginners course is basically the entry into our club. So like people have to do like a 7-week course, and then through that they can then graduate, where they then can like start coming and sparring like twice a week. And how they graduate is showing control and being safe. So, because it's a hobby, no one's doing it professionally in HEMA, not yet anyway. There's no money in it, maybe eventually, but HEMA is supposed to be like a sport that is not supposed to get to a certain like Olympic level. Who knows how it changes, but at the moment it's supposed to very much say it's going to be a hobby for the next little bit. So we want to ensure that people are able to come and spar or go in tournaments and be able to do it safely. And so then, they probably have a 9-to-5 or some other work that they need to go do. So we don't want to, give people injuries that will impede on them being able to do that. So the beginner's course is a way to do that, and being more accessible and more ensuring that we're inviting everyone in means that it kind of filters some of those behaviours out where they wouldn't graduate anyway.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add on that?
Oh,
No?
just total. I agree.
Yeah. This is why I invited Christian on, as we agree on a lot of this stuff. We have a lot of conversations about how, especially within Auckland, how we make it like a safe, friendly environment to really empower people to be able to come and train and do HEMA. So this is kind of what we normally talk about on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Kiwi Fight Camp was definitely, I feel like, an hour and a bit of us just sitting in front of each other, even though we see each other regularly, and discuss these things.
Yeah, I mean, the environment calls for conversation about what's going on in the scene, because it's Kiwi Fight Camp, for context, is a camp it's summer camp, essentially, for people from around the country and a few people that visit from overseas. And there's workshops about various things, whether it's actual fencing or if it's on like refereeing or potentially even how to handle certain injuries that might pop up from HEMA. It all brings up big questions about what we're doing and what direction the scene is moving in, what we're trying to achieve in the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit about your personal HEMA journey, I guess, in terms of like where you started and where you are now, and kind of what you're looking for, what's your goals for this year?
Ooh.
Just all the heavy hitters, I guess, for you personally.
As mentioned earlier, I started with side sword, which is a one-handed weapon. It's basically in between a basic sword, your stock standard sword. If you imagine a one-handed sword, you're probably thinking of the right thing. It's called an arming sword normally. And then the side sword kind of happens after that, which is we're getting a little bit more complex. And then after that, we get to the rapier. The side sword is like the awkward teenager between the two things, but it's also gorgeous and fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's my favourite awkward teenager.
Exactly. Yeah, I started with side sword. It's great. Love it. You feel like a swashbuckler. I love it. It's so flowy. It's great. And then I moved on to longsword, did like one longsword lesson. And from that, I was like, yeah, this is the one.
This will be me for the next little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, two hands. I don't know. Everything about swords is about kind of leverage. And the longer the sword, the bigger the fulcrum, and therefore the larger the leverage you actually end up getting. Two hands.
Yeah.
Just amplify it again. Why not?
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Yeah, my HEMA journey is looking like it's going towards saber at the moment, which is another one-handed weapon. I've been using lighter and lighter sabers, and now I'm using Olympic sabers, which are closer to 500 grams compared to the current standard competitive weight in HEMA, which is around 750 grams.
Yeah.
So 250 grams lighter, quite a difference. Yeah, I guess I really liked competitions in HEMA. I'm fairly competitive.
What?
And
No.
I know, crazy. And so I like to win medals, and it's like a fun way of testing whether the things that I'm doing are working or not, and whether the things that I'm focusing on are a good use of my time, which does seem like that can be a bad headspace to be in, and it definitely won't work for everyone. It works for me. Yeah, so I want to win more medals.
Is that why you're moving to Australia, to win more medals?
No. Yeah.
So when you like go and I'm interested, like when you go into a tournament, like what's your mindset? Like you mentioned, like kind of seeing, like kind of testing, I guess, yourself against other people that are also in the tournament. Is there anything else you're kind of like going in, or like how you keep yourself, I guess, centered? Because a tournament, for context, is over a couple of days, and it's different categories across different swords, and usually you're having maybe a 3-minute bout.
Yep.
And then you'll have about 5 of those in 5 to 6 to 7, who knows, 8,
Yep.
if you do well, across a very short amount of time. So it means that for me, you kind of have to keep yourself somewhat in a very mental capacity of being able to, the endurance, I guess, to keep yourself like not only physically good, but mentally as well.
Yeah, totally. My goal in almost every tournament that I've competed in is to, number one, have fun,
Yeah.
which is a little corny, but it is very true. Like, if you're not having fun, then what's the point? Like, honestly. And then, secondly, I just try and get a point. If I can get a point, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's like the general win condition for me in my head, is I win a point. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. And then after that, I get to hug my friend that I've just made by hitting them.
Yeah.
And generally people are really lovely, and like if they're not open to having a hug, that's cool. Usually like a little fist bump. It's nice.
Yeah. That's good. Especially because the HEMA community is so small. You usually end up like fighting just your friends around the country with swords. And one of you ends up winning. So yeah, it's generally quite friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get to see my rivals from around the country.
Yeah. Stare them down and then fist bump after.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, I guess, like stepping back from Auckland longsword, which how has that been, I guess, in terms of being kind of so involved and then being like, you have to actually step back because you're, I don't know if you know this, you're moving to Australia. So
Yeah.
like how has that been, and how have you found that transition and then kind of setting yourself up for that next chapter in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's been honestly harder than I expected. The challenge of actually putting my hands up and going, hey, it's actually not my problem, is hard for me because I like having control. This is the thing that I'm realizing. And it's been difficult, I'll be honest, because the space is something that I feel I have had a large hand in curating, and so it's odd to be like, no, I don't like have a say over this now. You know, or rather, the way in which I can use my voice is different.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so difficult.
And what about the next bit? I guess, like, what do you see your HEMA being this year, I guess? Because it's going to be a little different from potentially what it's been the last 3 years.
I see my HEMA as being tighter. I think that my fencing is getting really consistent, which is really nice.
I agree, yeah.
And I think that I'm also, alongside that kind of consistent performance, I've also got a bit of a loose headspace and feeling. So although my like movement on the piste, the like area we fence, might be a little more chill. I'm still bouncing around because I can't help it. But kind of playing around with speed of things and going from slow to fast and surprising people.
Yeah. I'm over here, now I'm over here, hitting
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So you're going to be doing more saber this year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Saber is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's entirely where my head is at for HEMA. It's a lot more modern. The saber that I'm looking at is a Redalian saber, particularly Barber City, which is like the big one for Redalian saber. It is 19th century saber, which is, 400 years after the longsword that, treatises that I look at from the 15th century. So they got a lot of different stuff to say.
Do they still talk about themselves a lot? Because so for HEMA, especially the sword masters, because back in the day, I'm going to generalize a lot, so apologies, is there would be, sword masters would get to a point where they have survived long enough to write a manuscript and teach it to other people. So it kind of may become, depending on the master, I guess, the person that's written the manuscript, it can be very much like story of your life with drills. Or it could be, they might teach just enough so you can maybe learn some stuff, but you need to go actually talk to the person that wrote the manuscript to get lessons, you know, just securing their job, I guess. So I'm wondering how different it is, I guess, into the 19th century. Or is it similar, or ebb and flows?
I think that the approach is quite different. You know, I'm going to out myself as not much of a reader of HEMA sources. I can't believe it. But like, I'm looking at Harry R., who's from Melbourne, his translation of the Zettel and Danzig, Peter von Danzig's lessons there. So many just proper nouns there, sorry. But that's a big source for longsword, and they use a poem, the Zettel, to teach lessons to training students, and you know, that's pretty unique. It's not something that we normally see. Whereas in Barbasetti's Sabre book, he just talks like it's a, you know, pretty much a textbook almost. Here's the figures, these are the guards, here's some stuff you can do from them, these are the cuts, these are the like drills that we'll do, here's the parry riposte drill, here's a direct cut drill. You know, a bit different. In Danzig, generally it's like, oh yeah, here's the cut. And also, if the opponent does this, then you should probably do this. But then if the opponent does this to that, then you should do this other thing. And so you end up on this like flow chart of like, okay, I'm in the fourth deep, I've done the first cut, they've replied with this one, so we're on that branch, and then we go down, and we go down again, and then we have the answer here. And you got to solve that problem. Which is not like how my brain works for sword fighting. But yeah, quite different.
Yes, yeah. No, I know Delagokia, which I know something about. I also don't read a lot of textbooks. My plan is this year to learn more about manuscripts, but I have lovely people that like to tell me a lot about the manuscripts, so that's how I have been learning HEMA.
Based.
Yeah. So Delagokia, which I find hilarious, is a conversation between himself and the student, but the student is also himself. And you can tell this by how complimentary the student is to the teacher. So Delagokia will be like, oh, you know, the student's like, oh, master, you're so wonderful. Can you tell me, how might I do this thing? He's like, well, student, here you go about this. And then the student's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so it goes along like that, which I really enjoy. But, you know, it's very much his own bias, I guess, mixed in between that. It's a lot of Delagokia upon Delagokia.
You know, just writing his own fanfic.
Yeah, exactly. It's
so
exactly
good.
what it is.
They should kiss.
Yeah. So I guess we might go to some questions now. Is there any questions? There's 2 questions. Okay. I will consult the thing. So one of the questions is, but if you have 2 hands holding the sword, you don't have one free for carrying a dagger. Any thoughts on that?
Get good.
Yeah.
Simply hit them before they can use the dagger, I guess. Although the dagger's cool, you can still have a dagger. You can still have a dagger, why not?
Just on your side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. You don't have to use two hands on the longsword.
Yeah.
It's just definitely the preference.
Yeah. So yeah, you can carry a dagger. There is also a mechanic where you can carry a sword and a dagger. That's obviously a different thing. But you heard it here first, Christian saying just, be better and maybe a little bit faster, which is a lot of what HEMA is working in the tempo and out of the tempo, I guess. Any other
Work
thoughts?
on your measure.
Yeah, work on your measure, footwork, just a few things. And then the other question is, how's your day today? Good? You finding this is going well? Or?
I think it's going pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Had a nice stroll up.
Yeah.
It's not too hot today. That's
No,
kind of nice.
actually, it is quite nice today. I'm appreciating the weather. I did the air conditioning well, I think, so we're not too warm.
I'm appreciating Studio One and the air conditioning.
Yes, yeah, me too. Is there any questions in the room? Yeah.
Yes, could you tell us about the best fight you've ever had?
All right, so to clarify, the best fight you've ever had?
I think the best fight I've ever had was actually literally just on Thursday.
Oh, all right,
It
tell
was
us about
insane.
it.
So one of the other coaches at Auckland Longsword, Addy, he's a French guy that has been doing HEMA for like 10 years. Very good fencer. If you've met Addy, you'll know that he pretty much only does longsword, which is extremely Auckland Longsword coded. And yeah, so we usually fence on a Thursday night, and I just said, look, I'm feeling really amped and I want to do it like tournament style, that kind of intensity. And we did that, and it went really, really well for me.
What in particular went really well for you? Say more about it.
Say more. I've been trying to avoid some of his counterattacks where he feints a cut to my right side and does not attack there, hence the feint, and does a lovely cut to my left side, which cuts on quite an angle, and it's particularly hard to block or parry. And so I thought, I'm going to go under that. So I ducked under it and took a step offline to escape that, and then hit behind it. And it worked like twice, and it was amazing.
That's great.
I read him like a book.
You read him and you got him first.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Just wondering, when it comes to people that have mobility disabilities, are there accommodations that can be made so they can participate and do some sort of stuff?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been talking to D-List a lot. They're one of my people that have really helped and supported me set up this event. And I was talking to Maddie about how we could make it like accessible to people in mobility, because there are like there are different what are they called? Systems. So like there are systems for like mounted sword fighting, and I'm like, oh, how could that potentially? Yes, exactly. How could that actually be translated into people that are in mobility? So we're more than happy to figure it out, but at this stage there hasn't been a lot of it, so it's kind of us figuring it out as well and partnering with people. And we have someone in our club that trained for the longest time and then has mobility issues now, and it's like, okay, how do we work with them to try figure out so it can be more accessible to people with mobility? So it's brewing in the back of my head and trying to figure stuff out. So watch the space, but also if you have any opinions, would also love to.
Toilets with the blades on.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's like totally doable.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, like swords is arms and like upper body primarily, in my opinion. Footwork is some of it, but we can get around that with mobility support. And yeah, like there's still so much fun to be had with practicing HEMA and sword play with either stationary or minor movement, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
I was wondering, based off your fight, how much of HEMA is like knowing the person you're fighting? Like getting to know their like tells and things like that?
So I like to say, when you're fighting someone that you fight every week, clearly you know what more of their tells are, so you're going to be able to read them a lot better. But because we also train within certain systems, you learn, the first thing is basically learning how to fight, how to swing a sword, what you should do with your body or the movements to get you to hit that person. The next part of that is reading your opponent. So you're reading the tells that they are trying to tell you as you cut them with a sword. So if you have a spar with a person frequently, then you're going to be able to read more of what they're normally doing. Sometimes it then becomes harder because they also are able to read you a lot better. So it's easier, but then also hard at the same time. It also depends on the person as well.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, but like I'm left-handed, and there's not a lot of left-hand fighters within HEMA in general, so I have a little sneaky advantage in terms of usually people are fighting right-handed people, but if I'm fighting people regularly, they know all my tricks and they're used to fighting a left-handed person, so I then have to work harder to hit them. But yeah, did you have anything to add on that?
Oh, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I know what they're doing, they know what I'm doing, and yeah, like a certain amount of it is definitely knowing who your opponent is, but the majority of it is reading how they are on the day, because people change, people fence differently, their headspace might be different. I've been told that I fence very differently in a competition setting versus when I'm sparring. So people fence with me in sparring and then tell me after we've just fenced in a competition, hey, what was that? Because you were like, that's not what we practice, man.
That's not what you normally do.
Yeah. So I accidentally deceive people that way.
Sneaky side game of.
Yeah. Playing the long game.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Yes? No? Not on mine? I guess kind of talking through some of that stuff, is there anything as you've been chatting that you find has kind of started sitting with you or is relevant, or upon reflection, I guess, or coming to today?
I think the HEMA community is cool. I think we're all a bunch of nerds that are really enjoying our niche little thing and having a good time doing it. And I hope that more people give it a try. It can be a bit intimidating, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. I think it took us the third lesson, not even the third lesson, if being honest. Once I started sparring people and realised how fun it was, I then, it really clicked for me. But yeah, just everyone in the community, it's a circle. And the circle means that because it's very niche, means there's a lot of lovely nerds that also join it. So, and lots of spicy neurodivergent people, and a lot of queer people alongside that. So it means that it like really draws in people that are just awesome and you get along with. And most of the time you just end up talking about swords most of the time and not actually knowing what that person does outside of the club at all. and then it's only 2 years down the track where you're sitting at a tournament or in a fight camp and you're like, oh, okay, so what do you actually do outside of this thing? And it's just been, so I think it's really lovely. It's the nice neutralizer as sword fighting. So yeah, it's really, really cool. I think, yeah, go.
I'm just thinking, 3 lessons to get into it. I was like over a month to get into it.
Oh.
Because I was so, I know I got a strange look from the audience, but the thing is, I found it difficult to get hit by a sword.
That is also true. That is quite hard.
Crazy.
I think I came from like hockey where I was like defensive like fullback, so I was already predisposed to being okay, being body checked by people. So I think getting hit by a sword wasn't too bad, but
I also played hockey and I still found it hard.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, it's
People
okay.
be different. And I think, yeah, that is, when you start fighting swords, I always like to tell the beginners that you don't need to take everything in all at once. We kind of feed you and info dump a bunch of stuff, but as long as you're taking in 5 to 10% of that, that is perfectly fine, because you have a bunch of time to learn this thing. It's really just to set a foundation. And yeah, to get used to being hit is very much a thing, because, having a sword fly at you is, your body wants to react in a way that it's like, I don't want to be hit. So you have to learn to how to parry that, and it be knowing that you're going to be in a space that it's okay if that does happen as well.
Yeah. There's like a turning point in my brain where I was like, oh no, it's scary to get hit. But wait, that was actually quite fun.
Got to do more than this.
Got to do more than that.
Is there any other questions in the room? Oh, yes.
You touched on this a bit earlier, but I'm curious to hear what your sort of hopes for the future of the sport are.
Oh gosh, big question. You can go first, Christian.
HEMA New Zealand, I believe. I think that we're going to get HEMA recognized, or ideally we're going to get HEMA recognized as a sport. That opens us up to funding and like opportunities at a national level kind of bracket, I guess. We already kind of have that, but it would be more formalized this way. It also means that we'd be able to help other clubs pop up in smaller areas of New Zealand. There are HEMA clubs around the country that aren't incorporated, so they're not registered with the New Zealand corporations, and so we could ideally help them out to get to that space where they're able to register with HEMA New Zealand. Yeah, I think that's what I'm hoping for in New Zealand. So that's that.
Yeah, very similar lines. Like, when I want it to be more accessible and safer, so like what we've done over the last couple of years is try, and like all across New Zealand, the different clubs that run tournaments, we've tried to really learn off one another to make things as safe as possible, because obviously it's still a full combat sport. You're hitting each other with swords, so innately there is a level of risk, but it's how do you make that as safe as possible in those environments, and really setting up those environments in a place that people feel comfortable to come in and do that. And yeah, with HEMA Aotearoa, or HEMA New Zealand, it means it provides more access to those smaller clubs, because we're lucky in Auckland that we have quite decent sized clubs, so it means we have access to, because we're so big, we're able to run events or able to maybe travel more, and there are smaller clubs or places in New Zealand that are just not able to do that. So being an organisation means that those fighters can have access to potentially being able to travel more around, or you know, if you're down the bottom of the South Island, cool, I can have some funding from HEMA New Zealand to come and do a tournament in Auckland. So it's just kind of sharing together and creating a space that, for safety, there is a consistency of across everything, but then there should still be wiggle room within those different, like what you learn and how you learn it. Yeah, does that answer questions? I think so. Kind of rambled a little bit, but yeah. And it's to still be fun.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be super, it should be super, no, it shouldn't be, should be competitive, but not in a space that it becomes, I don't want it to become like a toxic tournament environment. So how do we still keep very much the sense of community, but still apply those layers of safety and competitiveness into that thing? Yeah. Okay. If there's no other questions? No? Then I might close us off. If that sounds good. So I just want to say thank you for being the first guest ever. I see there's beads happening, friendship beads. Maybe one for you later. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to put that promise out there and it not happen. So I just want to say thank you for being the first guest.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your HEMA thoughts with not only me, but everyone else here and online. And I want to thank everyone as well for joining. Thank you for coming to the first event. It was lovely for people to sign up and get a ticket and come and hang out. So thank you very much. I'm just going to close us off in a karakia, and then that doesn't mean you need to leave. We've got another half hour. We've got the space for the next little bit, so feel free to leave in the next half hour. Don't need to leave straight away. We won't kick you out. But yeah, thank you. So just close off and karakia. So unahia, unahia, unahia ki te uru tapanui, ki wātia, ki mama, tinako, te tinana, te wairoa, iti are takatai, ki rā e rongo, whakakaere, ake ki ranga, ke tina, tina. Hui e, tai here.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.